Hello and welcome to the Lorna Marie Fitness Podcast, the show where we talk all things fitness, health, mindset and lifestyle to help you become fitter, healthier and happier. I help busy people who lack time, motivation and self-belief to look and feel great again. If you want to work with me, head over to lornamariefitness.co.uk, but for now, enjoy this episode. A very warm welcome, Fleur, to the Meet the Squaddies series. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, the sun's shining for us, so it's a lot better.
Oh my gosh, I know. Don't you feel like we were really lucky with the bank holiday? Because I'm
Yeah,
sure it was meant to rain all bank holiday and the sun was out. Everyone was walking, cycling, or sitting in the pub garden. It was lovely.
it
Really felt
was.
like summer.
Thank goodness. We needed it, didn't we?
We actually did. And Will keeps saying he really needs it for the lawn. He's done that thing where you I'm gonna keep saying it wrong. Is it scarifying the lawn? Where
Oh,
basically
yes.
the lawn just doesn't look okay now. Like it looks in a really bad place. But now he's like, we need more sun to let the grass grow. That was our wild bank holiday weekend.
With that and you sorting out, you've had fun then.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know, you need a good clear out though. I had makeup in there from, you get those packs at Christmas and birthdays that have like an eyeshadow in and a mascara in.
Yeah.
Well, I think I've been hoarding them. Like some of them were probably like 10 years old. I'm not even kidding. Like, right, okay, these need to go now. Feels good though, doesn't it?
Really good. Fresh
Anyway,
start.
oh Flo, well, less about me, more about you. Could you please tell our squaddies and tell our listeners a little bit about you, who you are, where you're from, and what you do?
I am Fleur. I am now 42, only just last month. I live in Nottingham and I used to be a teacher for a very long time, 18 years, and now I train student teachers at university. So that's me summed up, really. I've got two children and a husband who take up lots of my time, and that keeps me very busy. But yes, lots to do, and always rushing about, trying to fit everything in.
Super, super busy lady. So, how do you fit your fitness classes in at the moment with your current timetable of juggling being a really busy mum, partner, and also working at university, which, by the way, I know it was a big promotion, so huge congratulations
Oh,
again.
thank you. It was a long time. It was I think 2.5 years ago now, but I worked really hard to get there. So, yeah, I still like to hear congratulations. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, two and a
Um,
half years ago.
yeah, it's gone
Whoa,
that
that's
fast.
gone fast. That's
Yeah,
gone really fast.
it has. Yeah, yeah. How do I fit it all in? Well, lots of different ways, I suppose. So, I joined you really originally when we had a lockdown, and it was brilliant because it was almost like although it was a horrible time in the world, it was a real golden time for thinking about your own health and fitness, wasn't it? I think there was this real sense of things are happening in the world that might put me at risk and put my health at risk, and I need to protect that so I can look after my children and protect my children. And so I joined you, and that meant that I was able to do that. And that meant that I could fit that in because we had all that time at home to do those things, didn't we? And then when the world opened up, things changed a bit. My daughter has an illness and had been really poorly she's been poorly for a year and a half now. And with the illness, it meant that I just stopped fitting it in really. So I didn't fit it in at all, and I just stopped looking after myself. I felt very much like I couldn't put myself first in any way. How could I do that if my child was ill? I needed to put her first and look after her. Um, so I didn't fit it in at all, which made me feel quite fed up, I think, and quite miserable. Um, and we literally just lived in the dark, metaphorically and literally, with the curtains drawn in the house, nobody coming round. But I just think it's funny what you can get used to, really. And as you start to adjust to life, you start to find little spaces, don't you, in your life where you think, actually, there is space for me to reach out and find community again. And I think for me, that was the most important thing about reaching out to you again and saying, can I come back? And you'd always left that door open for me to come back. So having been a previous squaddie, you'd always said you can always come back. You don't have to, think this is the end. So actually leaving that door open for me to come back was really important, that I felt I could. And I knew that I could fit it in. because I can do little bits of exercise whenever I can. So for example, today I was meant to do the 9:30 live, and I was expecting myself to do that. It was all planned in, but I got a work phone call instead. So I took the work phone call because I thought, this is important. I've got to have this phone call. This person can only ring me now. But I can do Nicola's Kylie choice because I've been desperate to do that, and I've got the opportunity later. So 11:30, I got on my step, did my class, and then that counts that as my lunch break. I don't mind eating my lunch at my desk instead. That's absolutely fine. So I kind of slot it in because of that, and because my working week is so unpredictable. That I would have a look on a Sunday night and have a think, or a Sunday morning and think, right, okay, this week, this is what's happening. This is where I'm going to put my classes in. So that's sort of how I would fit all those things in, Lorna.
So it's about planning ahead for what you've got coming ahead. So, I mean, I always say failing to plan is planning to fail anyway. It's about like planning ahead, making sure you show up for you, and also having that flexibility that, say, if something does crop up or you have got your work phone call that you've got to take, you know that you can still do your favorite class after the phone call, or another pocket in your busy day. You can just shuffle it around a little bit. And I just want to say as well, well, two things. Firstly, thank you for sharing that about your daughter, because I do know that other people listening to this will be going through similar things and have children who aren't so well, and will really have put their own health and well-being on the back burner because of that. And it's really, really important to be looking after number one, which is you. And I know it's really easy to say it, and it's just not so easy to put into play. But I just want to say well done to you for doing that, because as we all know, we can't pour from an empty cup. And I also want to say, of course, you're always welcome back. Like, the door is always open. I always say, once a Squaddie, always a Squaddie.
Yeah.
And we do have the most wonderful, welcoming community. So if anyone does ever leave and they do want to come back, then the door is always open. It's
yeah. I think it made a real difference, because I think what I really needed was just that kind of connection with people in my life, you know, and the bonus of having that connection and coupling that with exercise is such a strong thing. So you've got that sense of community, but you've also got that physical improvement that actually really changes your mental improvement as well. So I would be driving off to work, having done a class in the morning, and thinking, I feel happy. It would catch me, because I would literally think, I am singing along to my music in my car and I feel happy. I haven't felt like this for months. And actually, I thought, what has changed? Well, you've started to care about your own physical health again.
Yeah, it really, really works wonders. And sometimes I think, depending on what kind of day you've got, I know Jules spoke about this in the Meet the Members series, but she's so totally right. And I always talk about it as well, is you do a workout to set your mood or your tone for the day. So sometimes if you know that you're going to have a really stressful day ahead, start your day with like a yoga, put yourself in that calm and focused mindset. Or sometimes if you know that you've had a really stressful day and all you want to do is go to the fridge and pull out the bottle of wine, but you know it's going to make you feel worse, go and thrash it out on a combat class. You're just using exercise to help you feel good within yourself and within your emotional well-being. And I think it can be the most energizing thing to do, just getting those feel good endorphins.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what I'd felt that we were doing instead, because we were fed up and miserable and low. We were reaching for another like piece of cake, and definitely another glass of wine. And it got to a point where I thought, well, this is not a healthy coping strategy that I'm using, and this is making me more sad, not make me feel happier. And actually, that I don't now look forward to when I'm going to fit my glass of wine in. I'd be thinking every evening, oh, I'm going to have a glass of wine when I get home. I'm going to have a glass of wine with dinner. And now I think, when am I going to fit my workout in? How am I going to fit that gym class in? You know, that's the change in the mindset.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about fitting the wine in. And actually, I don't feel the need to have the wine anymore.
Yeah, it's just a complete different way of thinking, isn't it? I mean, not that there's anything wrong with going out and having a wine or a bottle or sharing a bottle or whatever, but it's the fact that you're putting your health and your well-being first. And it's a totally different mindset. You're looking out for you. So you're putting you're just showing up as the best version of you, and you're wanting to do that. It's like a positive domino effect, isn't it? You
Yeah.
start treating yourself better, you feel better, so you want to carry on treating yourself better. So you'll eat better, you'll exercise more because you feel good for doing it. Yeah. So I'd
Definitely.
love to go back in time to a past Fleur to get an understanding of where fitness and exercise all started for you. You go back as far as you like.
So I was never very good at PE at school. I'm quite clumsy. I'm not very coordinated. I can't really follow patterns of movement particularly well. I'm a singer, but if you ask me to clap and sing at the same time, that's probably not going to happen. So I've never been successful at sport, and I felt that because we were trying to get better at sport all the time when I was at school, that I was failing a lot. I was in the hockey team for a while, and I was actually all right at hockey and quite good. But I had to choose between drama and hockey at one point. So I chose drama. I liked the teacher. I liked the kind of excitement of the shows more. So picked that instead. And that's where like team sports for me ended. So school, it was sort of, no, sport is not for me at all. Who'd have thought I could do the hand movements and the leg movements at the same time? Maybe not the first time, maybe not the second time. But by time 6, I've probably got some of it. And I'm happy with that. Um, and that makes a big difference. And I think the other thing is that you never can feel really silly in your groups because if you're at home, well, no one can really see you. You know, you might be able to see me on the screen, but I'm a tiny square. So, and it doesn't matter what I'm doing if I'm flinging my arms about in the wrong way or I'm going the wrong way or I've fallen over, which has been known to happen. It doesn't really matter. And I think the other thing is that even when I've been to your live classes, you would never pick someone out and say, so your class at Loudon, for example, or when we've done the socials that have been sport, you'd never pick someone out and say, well, you need to try this with your legs or do that. And so there's always just this sense of encouragement that comes through. And for me, that's exactly what I need. I just need to feel that I'm part of the team and I'm doing my best. And I think for me, you always make me feel like what I'm giving you now is the best I can give you, and that's enough. And that's what keeps me coming back, Lorna, because at school it was that feeling of you're not good enough and you're never going to be. So you might as well leave.
Oh my gosh. Well, I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for your lovely words, Blair. That's really kind.
Oh, it's
And I
true.
always say, yeah, if you're trying your best, you actually can't do any more. So you can't beat
No.
yourself up if you're absolutely giving your best. That's all anyone could ever ask. That's all we can ask from
Mm,
ourselves. And seems to me like you had that bad experience at school, but also from a personal perspective, it was challenging that perfectionist mindset where you wanted to get it right, you wanted to do it all
mm,
right, and you wanted that positive reinforcement that you didn't feel like you got at
mm,
school. So then growing up and doing fitness classes and knowing that you can't get on the first, second, third time, but the fourth time, then you're doing it. It's letting
mm,
go of that perfectionist mindset and knowing that in order to succeed, we do
mm,
need to have a few goes and all we need to do is
mm.
give it our best. And there is no right or wrong. As long as you're moving your body and it feels good, that's all good, really.
Yeah. And I've done exercise for things. So when I was getting married, I would go to the gym quite a lot because I wanted to look nice in my wedding dress. And I've done exercise in a kind of boring on the bike or on the running machine way. But I can't sustain it because I don't get the sense of community and the sense of joy that I get from being part of a class,
Yeah.
like how fast a class will go and that you've actually felt like it is ridiculous that you can feel like you've been at a party when you've actually done an exercise class, but you can, and that is really motivating for going back again, isn't it? And wanting to be part of that.
100%. We're all in it together. It's the community, it's the inclusivity, it's the just come as you are, show up as yourself unapologetically and have a good time getting sweaty, whether that's in your pajamas, in your
Yeah,
work clothes, or in between meetings,
yeah,
whatever it is. Yeah, having a
yeah.
workout party like this morning. This morning was crazy. We had the disco lights on at 6:30 and everyone was buzzing. If you told anyone else that, they would just think that you're mental. But no, it's really
Yeah.
it's just all about having fun and actually moving your body to feel good, and because it feels good, not having that almost, right, I need to do this to look a certain way or to be a certain way, almost from like a bullying standpoint, to no, actually I'm going to work out because it's just going to make me feel really good. And like you said, that example where you were driving in your car and you reflected on the fact that I just feel happy, like I just feel really good in myself, and finding the things that work for you to do that. Like, okay, for some people, they might want to sit on a boring bike in a gym for however long they want to do that for. But then for us, we want to strut around our living rooms and to disco lights at 6:30 in the morning. All
Much
together, doing it
better.
all together. It's different. And I love as well from the workout point of view, but also from the community point of view, how we do the workout. We all do it together. We're all having fun. We're all chatting away in the chat box. But then we move over to the group and everyone's talking about it over there. So whether you are doing it live or on demand, we're all in it together, and it's really lovely. No, it's nice. That's
And my
sorry, Fleur, what were you
sorry,
going to say?
I was going to say that, and that actually made me think that. So my life is still hard. My daughter's still poorly, but I can find that happiness. It doesn't have to just be about the illness and what's happening there. And actually, you can still find happiness in other places. But I actually did put on quite a lot of weight while we were numbing ourselves with chocolate and wine and cake, and my fitness. But I think listening to these podcasts and listening to the things that you say on those, Lorna, actually, I have been kind to myself. I have been able to be kind and say that you'd got, at that point, that's what you had to do, that's what you needed, and not beating myself up because that's what happened. And the consequences were that I lost my fitness to some extent and put weight on, because these things are fixable, that I can fix those things. But at that point in my life, that's what happened because of the situation I was in, and I'm not going to be unkind to myself, and it's important not to be. And you do the basics because the basics work. So I tell myself that when I'm making my lunch, and I'm tempted to do things that might have been unhealthy coping strategies in the past. And today I had my salad in the sunshine, and thought about some of the things I'd want to talk about with you. And I thought, and I've got loads of chicken on there as well. I was really enjoying it. And I was thinking, no, this is where you can find these bits of joy, these moments of joy in these challenges. But it's a good challenge for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm really pleased you mentioned that. And I think a lot of people go through really, really difficult times in their lives and actually really do put their health and their fitness on the back burner. Maybe they do turn to food, to drink. They don't look after themselves as they want to, or maybe they should. And then they feel in a really bad place and kind of reflect back and almost in a self-sabotaging way, like bullying themselves for what has happened. And the most important thing is, like you say, showing yourself that compassion and that kindness, and then also thinking about, okay, this has happened, and how do we move forward from here, and how can we change this? And I think the most important thing, I think the doggies have stopped now. um, and I think the most important thing is to work with yourself as opposed to against yourself, and treat yourself as you would like a child or a best friend, and what you'd say to them. And yeah, finding the little moments of joy. I love that you were outside eating a salad in the sunshine, just taking that moment for you. So for you then, Fleur, what is next for you? What are you mainly focusing on in terms of your health and fitness? Have you got any specific goals, or is it just to keep on doing what you're doing? What is it for you right now?
It is about how I manage to keep going, actually. It's making sure that I don't burn out, and because I talked to you before about feeling like I'm somebody that would give everything to something and then stop. So I was an all or nothing person in lots of ways. And I thought about it, and I thought, actually, that's something that I've been told more than something that I think about myself, and that people might say to me, oh, you're an all or nothing person, aren't you? And I've sort of internalized that belief. And so actually raising that with you on one of the question and answer sessions was helpful, because it did make me think, well, actually, where's that belief come from? So actually, probably my goal for me is to just make sure that I am maintaining regular fitness and that I don't do so much that I put myself in a position where I don't want to do it. You know, there've been times where in the past where I've thought halfway through a class, I don't want to do this today. I'm not feeling this, and I've stopped myself and got upset about it. This is a few years ago, and then it's almost put me off wanting to go back and do it in case I've had the same feeling again. So I think for me, it's about how I get that balance more. And probably for me, that's not about just doing cardio fitness, because I know that makes my fitness feel better so quickly that I'll throw myself into all the aerobic style classes. But actually, I need more of a balance, and I need to put some stronger in, and I need to put some yoga in, and I need to put some Pilates in. And I think actually having more variety would be something that would probably keep me sustained so that I'm not tired and too tired to do it. You know, if I put myself in 6 aerobics classes a week and then I'm wondering why I'm tired at the end of the week when I'm doing the 6th one, I probably need to just recognize that I needed to do a yoga or a Pilates.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you're doing that, you're probably going to lead yourself to burnout, and then it's no wonder that you're resenting doing it.
Yeah.
And it is really important to, one, listen to your body, but also two, go back to what you said right at the start, planning your week ahead. So you know when you're doing what, and you've got a balance week, and when you put it into the journal, it tells you your balance, so you can look at what you need a little bit more of, maybe less of.
Yeah.
And I think as well, having like a range target. So have your non-negotiable minimum, like, okay, minimum, I need to hit 3 workouts, and it might be one of each, or it might be a couple of cardios and a strength this week. And then having that ideal in the back of your mind, but ideally I'm going to do 5 or something.
Yeah.
And then it's like a win-win scenario. And then you know that if you hit your non-negotiable, it's a win. But you know that if you're on your 3rd class and actually you feel really, really like you don't want to do it, then be questioning, is this because of something else that's happened? Do I need to show up for me today? Is it just because I don't have any energy, or am I ill?
Yeah.
So being I think you hit the nail on the head where you said really internalizing everything and asking yourself the question, like, why am I doing this? What benefit is this going to bring?
Yeah.
And then also to the point where, how do I know if I need to be doing it or not, is the thing I'm looking for.
Definitely.
Oh, well, I'm sure you're going to absolutely nail it, Fleur. And I think you've come a really long way since I've known you, with your mindset around fitness and around taking care of you. And I really do feel like in the past couple of years, you've made that your priority to make sure that you're showing up for you. And I think that is just going to help in so many different ways of your life, like beyond fitness. But as you show up at work, and then at with family and everything else, and I think a lot of people don't appreciate that until they actually take that step to do that and prioritize themselves. So well done.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for coming on to the podcast.
I want to leave you with something though. I want to leave like a final thought. And my final thought is that it's okay to have a break, and it's okay to have a pause, and it's all right to do 70% effort on something, or even 50% effort on something, and that making yourself do something at 100% isn't always the right thing, because you say this, but actually it's the showing up and the taking part and the sense of community that is really important. So it's okay to be kind to yourself and say, do you know what, I've done the best with what I've got today. And that's really what I want to end with.
Oh, I love that. That's so, so important. Thank you ever so much for sharing that, Fleur. That's a very important point. I think I did hear somewhere where if you've shown up today and given it 70%, but that 70% was your 100% of that day, then that's your 100%, if that's what you could give that day. And some days that might be because you are feeling fatigued or stressed, and you might not be putting as much effort in as normal, but that's okay. You're there. You're doing it. Oh, thank you ever so much, Fleur.
Thank you for having me.